But how do you feel, though, that you performed, though? I know you guys gave up the goals and whatnot, but yeah, how do you feel?
Yeah, it's twofold, right? Because I think realistically, going into this tournament, we knew we had a tough task ahead of us. Some very, very good, well, not some, all very, very good sides, and so we wanted to be able to find a way in the games and play our style and make opponents feel uncomfortable. And so if you go in with that, then you say like it was probably successful. No, but as the games went on, and especially as the first game went on, I think we would have liked to have some more out of that. I think we probably deserved to find a tie in that first game, and who knows how that would have changed things. But overall, I think the work rate. I mean, you guys just talked about probably Christian with his crazy kilometers that he logged. That was fantastic, and I think the world response and also the opponent's response to how we decided to play, not just bunker in, and we wanted to play a game, and we put them in situations at times where I think they were uncomfortable. The response was good, but so lots of positive takes from it. But at the same time, you want to win games. You don't want to just be participating, but you try to find the positives where we can and utilize those to move forward.
You ended up being one of just a handful of teams that didn't get a point.
Yeah.
But you guys didn't finish last. You guys had a better goal difference, I think, than two or three other teams among the teams that didn't get any points. Yeah. Did you care, like that you weren't like? Because there was a moment there where it was like, man, some of these teams, even though they have a worse goal difference, could get a point. I mean, like Auckland gets a point, and do you even care that you guys avoided last? I guess.
No, not like that. I mean, he's also put in perspective, I think, because I don't want to say it's not an even playing field, but we were in a group of death.
Right.
I mean, Atletico Madrid didn't make it out of the group, so you could say we're equal to Atletico Madrid. Like, and if you're looking at it in that way, then well, what does that mean for us, right?
Right.
But in the end, you have good performances to try to find results. Otherwise, good performances don't mean nothing, right? Now, having said that, it was a separate tournament, so can we utilize some of those good performances to, when we don't now go back in the league, to help us get results? I think that's what I was looking at.
Yeah, Steph, what is the key as a collective to take all the positives that from those three games into Saturday?
Well, for one, I think one thing will be interesting just to see how. I think now that we go back to the league, we would love for us to emulate what we did there, and then be able to find out why we were successful at times against those teams. Was it because maybe they approach us differently than MLS teams, or was it that we were just better? Because I think some things like playing out of the back, we were a bit more successful at times than we are in league. Now, does that mean because MLS teams don't press as structured and maybe more as athletically and put, it's a one guy here, one guy there, and it's a bit all over the shop, and it leads to a frantic kind of game? Or because I think maybe the European sides were a bit more tactically aware. I think they would retreat into a good block, wait for a good cue, and then when that cue came, that's when they would press, right? And so I don't know, it'll be interesting, and hopefully we get to see how much of it was us and how much of it was the opponent. But for that for us to be able to see that, we need to have good performances now in that same kind of territory that we just had against good European sides.
And it looked like help me out here, that when they attacked the European sides, they cut inside. I mean, they're first, on the wings there, as opposed to going down.
Well, it depends. I mean, you had different sides too. You're looking at a Botafogo with 6'4", 6'5" guys. They are happy to cross left and right, left and right, left and right. I think Atletico at times too, very explosive. Sorloth in the middle, who's a big boy. And then all of a sudden you're finding a PSG who's not small, but going over the wings more to, I think, move you to a side, then to quickly switch side to then find players in isolation that have the quality to cut in and shoot, right? So it's just a different strategy. And it's probably a strategy that they utilize their players to the best of their ability. Now, the big difference that you see, and I tell this to young players, up-and-coming players all the time, these best of the best in the world, they don't do crazy things. You're not going to training and you see them do bicycle kicks left and right. They do the simple things to perfection. And I think those are the differences, right? And those are the differences in our game too. You know, you rarely see them mess up a simple pass. You know, they try to do it clean to the precise foot with intention. The next guy knows what he's supposed to do with that ball because of the way he receives that ball, right? And I mean, if you look at their chances, the way they took their chances, first goal, Atletico, for example, we have those chances at times too. But for them, that is a moment where then a moment of brilliance and class can come out, and it comes out. That's why they get paid the big bucks.
Steph, how frustrating though was it that you guys played so well in so many portions of these games, and then the goals came off an unmarked man on top of the box, or unmarked man in the far post, the throw-in, those sort of situations that feel like they're very easy to correct.
They're easy to correct, but I think it shows you how delicate these games are, right? And especially when you're playing against good sides, they're gonna wait for that tiny little error or that tiny little slip of concentration, and they're there, and they're ready, and they're capable to pounce on those things, right? And sometimes maybe that's the difference. I mean, it sounds silly maybe to say that, but you know, even Atletico Madrid, they have chances in the first half to make it 3-0. I think if they're in a super important game in Champions League and they miss those chances, they're not going to be very happy about that. So those are the moments that they're probably looking at and be like, we got to be better at those, because those cannot be not goals. And for us, it's like, okay, we kind of got through the half, great, all right, we're in the game, awesome, but in reality, they're probably kicking themselves for not finding themselves up 3-0. So it's those moments of brilliance that is just we were able to make it difficult for them, but that's maybe just a consolation price. And again, you have nothing to show for it, which sucks.
When you guys go back to MLS play, you're going to have another different back line.
Yep.
How important, or how much do you think you're going to be involved as far as organizing and communicating, make sure pieces are in place?
Yeah, I mean, that's always, the goalkeeper is always there to try to move his pieces around as much as he can and help out. We've already started that on the training field, because this is where we can hear each other, and this is where we can run through scenarios and make sure we, maybe after we see a scenario, run someone through what just occurred and how maybe we could have approached it differently, right? You don't have the luxury of doing that on the weekend. Having said that, I think we have people that are going to be more than capable of sliding in, people that have a good head on their shoulders, smart players, and might just have to move a tiny bit from a position like adjacent to. So I feel good about it.
Is it so you don't feel that this match has to be a pass because of the fact that you're not having your designated center backs there? You still expect the same intensity and energy and lessons to be applied to this Austin match?
Yeah, 100%. I think if we don't apply our lessons to this match, then it's a huge wasted opportunity. We wait until the next game, and then the next game it's time to switch back. And we've also had games, and so I think we've kind of gone through the tournament mostly unscathed in terms of injury, which is good. So for them, they kind of had a bit of a break, which it can be one way or another. It can throw you out of rhythm, or it can help you to recover physically and mentally. For us, we didn't have that luxury, but that means we should be in stride, and we should approach this game to be on the front foot and kind of keep going as quickly as we can and make them feel uncomfortable.
How would you describe your confidence level in Alex sliding back a line? Or not back a line, but sliding inside?
Sliding over, yeah. No, great. Like I said, he's the guy I'm kind of thinking about when I say he's a guy, good head on his shoulders, a smart player. And that's why it's important that you have the week, or at least a few days beforehand, to make those adjustments, because I think he quickly noticed. We had a good chat yesterday after a couple situations where if you're an outside back, you have cover on the inside, and also if you get beat behind, you get beat behind for a cross or a corner or something. But that luxury doesn't exist anymore in the middle, right? Like if you get beat behind, or then it's probably a chance on frame, and I'm the last line of defense. So I think you kind of realize that shift in mentality and pressure that comes, even just sliding horizontally, not vertically. But like I said, I think he'll do great. He's a smart player. He's good technically, and he'll be good there for us.
And it seemed like he sort of slid into that role towards the end after John came out, JB came out in the PSG match. Did it seem like he picked it up pretty quickly, even within the game?
Yeah, I mean, there's moments even as a outside back, you know, if you're staying as outside back and there's a transition moment, you might have to, you know, slide back. So I've seen him numerous times have to come back and then realize what's going on and slide over to cover for a Jamar or someone who's maybe caught upfield or whatever. So he's been in the league long enough. He's made enough experiences. He's smart enough to understand that he has to approach this cautiously. It's better to be overcautious than nonchalant, I'd say, in that position. So, but those are all the things that I think he's working through right now, and we're trying to help him. And I have 100% confidence.
How do you protect them in like set pieces and settings that maybe there's different roles for where he's going to be playing at this particular position?
Well, set pieces out anything is probably where he's not going to change his role, right? Because we can move players where we want, match up there, target men with who we want to use for that, you know. And he's generally speaking been on the back post on corners, on our zonals. So I don't know if that's going to be the plan, but those are easy things because you can kind of plan for those, right? It's more like the things where, like I said, as an outside back, if you're isolated and you get beat through the outside, not the inside. Well, if you're center back and you're isolated, you can't get beat left or right because you're in the middle. So I think that mentality change that is probably the biggest change for him. So.
In today's day and age, how important is it for you that the club is going to do a pride match and provide that sort of celebration for that day specifically?
Look, I think we've always taken great pride in being very close to our community, and pride is a big deal in the state of Washington and the city of Seattle, and I think we've always been very supportive of that part of our community. And so I'm happy that we're able to do that and do it properly, and hopefully it'll be a day of celebration, not just for that reason, but also obviously hopefully we can get a good result and everybody will be happy.